Welcome to the second part of Kassandra Boltman's interview. Super excited to let you guys hear the second part. If you haven't heard the first part, jump back to episode 27 and take a listen. So without further ado, let's get back to the interview. The fact of the matter is, whether you've been in network marketing for years or just a few days, your family and friends have seen your opportunity and your phone is, as we call it, burnt. If you're anything like me, that's a scary thought. So the big question is, how do entrepreneurs like us, who love the network marketing profession, who no longer want to be that guy, and are tired of convincing people during uncomfortable let's get coffee meetings where they say, what's this all about? How do we market in a way that aligns us with our dream clients and expands our network of upfront and transparent professionals, allowing us to get our time back, our families back, and gain a real passive asset? People like us who value impact over income, we deserve to see our visions once and for all. Join me in this podcast where we'll uncover just how to do that. My name is Eric Sablon. Welcome to Burnt Phone Marketing.
The sales pitch type events, those are where you're going to stand up there, listen to a presentation. At the end, they're going to sell something. There's times for those. But if you're wanting to leverage an event for an event or leverage it to do sales on another platform to get followers, then you're going to want to do events where it's leveraging people, leveraging promos, say, hey, be my ambassador, I'll give you a shirt or a book, and fill it up with content and knowledge where they want to follow you and keep coming back.
Yeah, so again, leveraging people, and it doesn't always have to be a big pitch fest or a self-promoting thing. I mean, as long as you're creating content, and that's one of the things that I found with this show is when you create content, people want to listen and people want to listen to what you have to say. And with the people that we've brought on as interviews for Burnt Phone Marketing, it's been fantastic. Again, thank you for jumping on this interview. This is fantastic. So you've been an entrepreneur for all of your life, basically, since you told me since you were 13, and it was probably before then. So here's my story. Great story. I was into baseball cards when I was little, and I actually created a card shop inside my parents' motorhome at the front door of our house and invited kids in the neighborhood to come buy cards for discounted prices so they didn't have to ride their bikes to the local card shop. I had all the cards for them. And I literally set up a table inside the back of the motorhome. All of my cards were there. And then I told them what time I opened, what time I closed. So literally, I think in 5th grade or 4th grade, I was selling baseball cards. And then I would go and ride my bike to the card shop with the money and then reinvest it back into cards and put them back into to the business. So yeah, I think we're kind of the same. At 12, 13, we were out there trying to figure out how to make more money.
I like your story because it shows that you're a master salesperson, whereas mine is just a master at processes. That's all.
Well, we need both of them. The process, if I could have leveraged someone to go, I wasn't even thinking, if I would have leveraged my sister to go pick up the cards, I could have been selling more.
Right? Get to work.
Yeah, exactly. Get to work. So you've been an entrepreneur, all your life. What would you have told yourself in the beginning? Maybe not at 14 or 15, maybe at 19 or 20. What would you have told yourself at the beginning of your entrepreneur career that would increase the speed of your business today?
An aha moment I had recently, I'd say probably in the last 12 months, has been the concept that I'm an operation type person, a system kind of person, and you can actually do systems to marketing. And it didn't really dawn on me because I've always done marketing like I'm going to go full-fledged into events, and that's my thing. And that's why I stayed. I didn't ever stop and realize that I can put systems in place to do all kinds of little different marketing things with one big one that you hyper-focus on. But you do a whole bunch of small, consistent ones. So you have to do a little bit of B2B, a little bit of B2C, a little bit of this, a little bit of that, and make all of those consistent and burning. And then you have your big one. So when your big one starts to die off and change, you got something else in the back already ready to go to start building momentum. Kind of like when Instagram started. Instagram wasn't around when I was growing up in business. So when it became a thing, I turned on an account, did a couple posts, had a couple things going on there. And then when it started becoming a bigger thing, we started making it a little bit of a bigger thing. It's kind of like Facebook and so forth. And it's actually kind of a Gary Vee trick where you have all kinds of stuff going on with your main one. Like he absolutely loves Twitter and Twitter is his thing, but he has the Instagram and he just opened up his Pinterest account and he's got all these things that are consistently just kind of churning for the other crowd, if that makes sense. So when it becomes a bigger thing, you just change your systems and make that a bigger thing. Which kind of is where I'm going next is I've got the events and I've got all these tiny things coming into play and I've now got systems in place for it. For example, I now have a marketing person and I now have a business developer that goes around and brings in sales. It's not just me bringing sales. I've got 4 people now bringing in sales, which if I would have done that years ago, I'd be a lot bigger today. So realizing that you can put systems to marketing so it stays consistent and you don't forget it, that's probably the biggest tip I would have given myself in order to increase the speed as well as the size of where we're at today.
Yeah, increasing speed is huge for business. And sometimes you just got to be ready for it. And maybe 5 years ago, you weren't ready for it. But I'll tell you, as we spoke and as we talked, at age 13, you were ready for it. You just didn't wrap your head around that I'm going to put a system together to make this work. And I like what you said about, little tiny things that are going in the same direction of your main thing, which is, it's all symbiotic. So you can't do something over here and something over there and something over here, but everything is pushing to that one symbiotic thing that you're marketing to right now. And, a lot of times people get distracted. But if you just stay on that one symbiotic thing and something always is parallel with where you're going, build the fire in the different platforms, build the fire in where you go, but hone into the one that you're really good at. So like me, I'm better at Facebook. I know a lot of people are way better at Instagram. I'm just fighting to be like, I want to do the Instagram thing, but Facebook's so easy for me. So I just stick with it. So pick your platform.
And that's okay.
Yeah. I think my audience is there anyway. So pick your platform and then just run with it, and you'll get the results. So that's a big nugget to increase the speed and scale your business. We talked earlier about increasing your speed and scaling your business, and you told me a nugget about plateauing. And I know a lot of people, a lot of the audience have either hit a plateau. I mean, it happens in working out, it happens in business, it happens in everything. But a lot of times people don't understand how to overcome the plateau. And you gave me a couple of nuggets earlier, and I just would like you to touch on, what do you do when you hit a plateau in your business? And, what is the thing that you reflect on, and how do you scale it? Because, there's businesses that go from, 100,000 to a million, from a million to here, as they scale, they go. But you gave me a nugget that said, kind of mark your path and kind of show where it's at. So can you kind of go over that a little bit?
Yeah, no. Eye-opener experience for me. I got at a grant program last year in 2018 where basically it was over 400 small business owners in a room. And in my particular group, we had 150 of us in a room. And it was fascinating to realize that these plateaus are everywhere. It's not just you. It's not just one size. Whether you're at 1 million or 5 million or 500 or 250,000, you're going to have plateaus. What's most fascinating is every time you hit a plateau, you actually do the same activities as trying to solve the problem to get over your plateau. And you'll know when you're in a plateau because it lasts for about 6 months to a year. And that's when you're like, wait, our revenue is not going up, our sales are not going up, this isn't going up, nothing's changing, we're just stuck. I can't hire more people, I got all this busy work and not enough money to hire more people to get over the busy work. You get in this cycle, this ugly loop. But what I learned is that the plateau that you had when it was just you and your computer versus the plateau when you had like a couple employees with this level of revenue and then so forth, it keeps going up. It's the same series of problems. You're either looking at it from a perspective of, do I need to fix sales? Do I need to fix marketing? Do I need to fix service? Do I need to fix my people? It's the same process all the way through, no matter which level you're at. So for example, right now I'm plateaued again. So I've gone through, I would say, 4 plateaus within the company, where we went from 0 rentals to 150 rentals and then 250 rentals. We plateau at these certain gaps. Well, I'm sitting at 500 rentals and I've been stuck there for a while. And when I looked at everything, I looked at my systems and my people and my process and everything, I've decided that my gap is that in order for me to get beyond 500, I have to have more leads, more marketing, more everything. So I'm having to redivert a percentage of the budget, again, like I did on the last plateaus, to tone in on getting a bigger reach. Because my goal with real property management is to be over 750 rentals by next year. My goal for the Landlords Almanac is to have everybody pointing towards the website rather than all these individual places that they like to be. So that way they're all engaged together and they're able to communicate together on one platform, not Facebook platform and Instagram platform and all these other platforms where you can't hear the whole crowd because they're over here chattering about security deposits and they're over here chattering about service animals. So I'm trying to put them all on one platform so they can actually engage together. And we actually have around 5,000 followers, but you wouldn't know it because they're everywhere. So my goal is to get them all together and get up to the 10,000 mark on the followers side. So it's easy to get into a plateau. It's not because your eye came off the ball. It's just because you have this much revenue, this much people, this much time, this much stuff all come together where nothing changes. It's like a deadlocked funnel. You get stuck in a funnel, you know, where you can't get through the bottleneck.
Yes.
You get into a bottleneck situation. Yeah. And you can't get through because it's all happening at once and only a little bit's coming through. So.
Well, that's a good, I like that analogy. It's a funnel, it's kind of bottleneck. And a lot of times mentally it's us. We're thinking, well, I got here, I got this far. What's my problem? What's my problem? Yeah. But what a lot of people need to do is they need to step back. And that's a big thing that I like to do is step back and take the 3,000 or the 10,000 foot view and look at the systems and look at the, you know, look what's growing, because as you look at what's growing, you'll be able to define a little bit more where you need to throw more money at. And like, I like what you said is, you know what, to scale my reach, to create the extra 250 new rental units, you needed to step back, look at where I'm going to dial in and get the most value out of those people, find my avatar, which you already have, and then dump money into some marketing and some advertising to get more reach. And defining that reach is going to help you pick up the 250 new clients. And what's crazy is when you find that 250, it's probably going to be, honestly, let's just say it's probably going to be like 365 or 370 or something like that. Then you're going to have to either scale back or again, which is a great problem. As long as the revenue is coming in, it's a great problem to have. So
yeah, and you bring up a really good point, is that when you get through a plateau, sometimes you'll shoot way past the plateau and you're not ready for it, either because the people's not there, the processes are breaking, and what's going to happen is if a lot of people go, wait, you shoot past it, you should keep it, and you should just keep building on that. Well, no, because what's going to happen is you're going to start breaking processes and you're going to break your people, and then your people are going to start wanting to quit, and then you're going to lose all your talent. Or you're going to break processes, and then you're going to start doing a bad job for your customers. And then the word of mouth and reputation, that's key, especially when you're in a smaller town. So when you ruin that, you're not going to do the next plateau. You're going to go all the way down to 2 plateaus ago. Right. So you want to, when you hit a plateau and you go over the plateau, you want to kind of be in this comfort zone before you hit the next plateau, not hit all the way up to the next plateau, because you're going to make mistakes that are very costly.
Yeah, that's definitely an issue with a lot of times is people grow a big giant team and then the processes won't be in place, and all of a sudden they'll have just so much attrition and nobody will know why people are falling off in your, we're in network marketing, and this is kind of what it's about. It's like you bring in a team of 10,000 people, and all of a sudden you go to 5,000 real quick because nobody knew the process. Nobody knew how to do it. Your massive growth was just too confusing for you. And then what I like to tell people is a lot of times you just weren't ready for it. And you weren't ready for mentally, physically, overall as a business person, you were not ready for that massive growth. Yeah, it was a blessing that you got it. However, now you got to go back to what we talked about earlier is think about how you got there, think about why you got there, and then just let it never happen again, because the blessing came and you weren't ready. And, a lot of people suffer from that. And I like what you said is be ready for it, get in kind of a comfort zone, and then be ready to scale again. Don't scale so much that you're in trouble. And there's so many businesses out there that scale so much that they're in trouble. We both must watch The Profit a lot. And they talk about, people want to franchise out to millions of different places, and they want to take over the East Coast. However, they can't get the model that's in New York done. I mean, there's no model that's set up for them to bring in people and say, this is what we're going to do. This is how we're going to do it. Here's the model. Would you like to buy into our franchise? If you don't have that ready to go, then, you're not going to be able to bring in the talent, number one, that brings the right money. Number two, the process, which is getting it 600 miles away from where you are now to work exactly how yours is. And the people, because if they don't have a trend or someone to look at and say, this is someone to model, then they're going to go, it's going to be the Wild Wild West. They're going to do their own thing. You're going to have all sorts of special burgers or special things that you like. What is this? I didn't know this isn't supposed to be on the menu, or this isn't supposed to be how we're doing it. So that's definitely huge. I mean,
yeah, it's maturity, right? You've got to be very self-aware and very mature with you and your process and your systems and your company. You got to be honest and authentic with your own company, because if you're not ready, and sometimes you don't know you're not ready because you're going to hit the wall and go, oops. But you as the business owner, you as in charge, that is your job, is to be very honest and self-aware of yourself, or you're not going to recognize if you went too far, or if you're not going far enough, or being able to know what the gap is within the system that you have. Otherwise, you're going to bump up to the top and fall right back down as fast as you went back up. And that's expensive. It takes years to recover sometimes from going and hitting the wall and coming back that hard. You see it where people run out of money because they grew faster than the money could flow, and therefore they can't keep the marketing sustained, or they can't keep the training sustained, or they can't keep the people, the talent sustained. You're going to drop back down. So you got to be mature and self-aware and be realistic.
Right. That is a big problem and a big nugget that you bring to the audience, because if you're not ready for it, you're probably going to fail. If you're not prepared for it, you're probably going to fail. And that's why I always say, find somebody that's done what you're doing or what you're modeling. Like we talked about with your podcast, you found somebody that's doing what you're doing, so you're just going to model it. Success has already been done. You just have to pick up the breadcrumbs and make sure you're looking for the right big loaf, because as you're following those breadcrumbs, you'll get to that big loaf, and all of a sudden you're like, I was ready. I was here. I was prepared. My systems, my process, my product was already ready to go. And here's what I'm delivering to you, and I'm delivering you great value. So that's a huge nugget. Being ready for it, it will help you increase your speed for sure. So we talked about podcasts, and I love doing podcasts. What are you currently working on, and where can the audience find more about you? And I always post all of your links and stuff in the show notes, but if you can just kind of tell us, what you got going on, what you're super excited about, and what do you got in the next couple of months, or next couple of weeks, or the next couple of months that the audience can tune into.
Sure. I do believe that the market is shifting more towards audio. Video does assist because a lot of people I know actually do podcasting through YouTube instead of through some of the podcast apps, for example. But I do believe audio is becoming a thing, and I do believe it's where people are soaking up information. So what I'm pivoting where we're at with events is I'm going to bring in podcasting that's going to help my current customers for real property management, but it's also going to help spread the word and the knowledge for the DIY landlords. And the whole concept is regarding having conversations around landlording, because it's not a yes or no answer. There's a lot of science to landlording. It's like me and you can pick carpet cleaning and debate it for hours. You'd be surprised. So basically what we're going to do is create a podcast that's going to make it where they can listen in on the conversation of debating concepts and thoughts and theories regarding landlording as a business. And the best way to find us, we're going to be putting our podcast material on our website. Like I said, I'm trying to point everybody to the website and not all these other platforms. So I will give you that link to put it in there, but the Landlords Almanac, that's where it's going to be, and audio is going to be there now as another service for everybody.
Awesome. So I'll definitely put that in the show notes. Guys, if you, I like what you said, is we talked about modeling. We talked about making sure that, you know, the things that we're doing, somebody else has already done it. I mean, the last thing we want to do is have to make the mistakes that somebody else already made when we can compress timeframes. Like we talked about in John Schwartz's interview, he's like, his goal is to compress 10 years into 1 year for you. So that's what his book's going to be about, is just compressing timeframes. And one way to compress timeframes is, you know, all out massive action. Also, looking at what somebody else has done and saying, I will not do it that way, or I'm going to learn from what his mistakes were, and I'm not going to go down that path, just so I know. I mean, it's like parenting. You go by what you know, so you're teaching your kids the same way what you know. So, and as long as they have the buy-in, they're going to believe what you have to say. So, guys, that is a huge nugget. Listen to the show, because it's going to help you learn what not to do. Also, you know, debate, and you may be able to connect with some really good people. All right, I got 2 questions. I got 2 more good ones, and I love these 2 because it really peels back the onion. So, you know, just so you guys know, Kassandra is very successful. She owns a great business. She has lots of people coming into her events. But, you know, I like to tell people that, you know, we're still people anyways. So we're going to kind of peel back the onion a little bit. And in your business today, what's the one thing that keeps you up at night, good, bad, or both?
The industry is changing. The rules and the regulations and how you play the game is changing. And it's very difficult to play the game when others have no problems cheating, when others have no problems hurting people. It's that ethical dilemma of being a certain size. So I'll give you a scenario, and it all goes back to the avatar situation. At my size, I'm not going to help everybody. Today, I have 500, but what you don't know is I'm rejecting 20 to 30 landlords a month because they don't fit the system. But some of them do come in the system. Some are in the system and their situation has changed where now they're in conflict with us. So what happens is you have this ethical dilemma of like, they need my help, they should have my help, they should listen to me, but yet they don't need you anymore. They need a different system. They need a different company or whatever. So it's hard to compete. And because ethically you're like, I'm the best, everyone should want me, but you're not the best. Not everybody can have you at all hours and all times of all days. And it's hard to also compete when the other guy is cheating, making it harder to be ethical. Because when you're honest, like, no, this price is going to be this price, and the guy over there does it for free or slides in some silly special that's below cost that's not beneficial to them, and it just hurts the industry. Or they're going around doing marketing like what you guys are doing, and they make it slimy, and it ruins it for everybody else. And it's very hard to compete, and it's very hard to be honest, and you have to work past all those layers of trust before you can even start. And then when you're at a certain size, you have to have self-awareness and an ethical boundary with your current customers of how far do you go to help and train someone and hold someone's hand to make them successful because they don't want to walk to and do the work to be able to drink the water. Like, you can only teach a man to fish, you can't keep giving him the fish, right? So it's this ethical dilemma of balancing current customers and new customers, and not getting sucked into the slimy, and not getting sucked into the cheaters is what I like to call it. Because you got to find your line. And it's a growing concern because the property management is changing, and there's always a guy that's ruining it for the others.
Yes. So. And it happens in all industries. There's always that one person that comes in that, number one, tries to either be the lowest or tries to offer a bunch of things that, you know, he can do to lose money, but, you know, it's not, you know, you may lose a couple clients. And I, you know, in many businesses, I've lost a couple clients where I'm like, why did you do that? But a lot of times you just got to let them learn and then come back. Because if a customer comes back to you, that means that your service is better. That means that you've done your job, you've done your due diligence. And, you know, one of the things that I would say is you can't always be the cheapest and you can't always be the best, but as long as you realize that, you know, you're putting your best foot forward, you're being the most transparent, you're being the most honest, and running your business with integrity, overall, the dust is going to settle and they're going to come back because they know that, you know, he promised or they promised and they didn't deliver. And it's a big thing. It's like, your word means a lot in business. Your word means everything in business. So just make sure that you stay humble. I like what one of my, Erin Adesso, she said, her hustle keeps her humble. So I definitely is one of the things that I really like to kind of push to my audience. The last question, and thank you so much for this. I'm super excited. Is you know, any last words you'd give the audience? Any last words or tips that you give the audience?
I learned about 2 years ago from Bill Gates to read books of different industries, not just your own book. So I started reading sales books from all kinds of different industries, which has been a game changer in how I approach solving problems with marketing and with the sales process. And like John Schwartz, you know, he does the Perfectionist Auto, right? His approach to sales and marketing is wildly different than mine, and I didn't know about certain tips and tricks, and I was able to incorporate it into our company. And so just because you're in network marketing, cross lines and look at others, read books, read podcasts, whatever you like to soak up knowledge from, cross industries, and you'll find that nugget that you need to get it going.
That is a huge nugget, because if you're reading books for different industries, I follow a lot of books with Grant Cardone, and he does talk about network marketing. But if you read a lot of books for different industries, it's great to have the blinders on, but sometimes you need to at least take one blinder off and kind of look at what the rest of the world is doing. So that way you can kind of see, you know, some of the tips and the tricks and the stuff like that people are doing. Gary Vee is not a big network marketer, but everybody in network marketing listens to him. You know, Eric Worre is huge in network marketing. Everybody listens to him. You know, Grant Cardone, all these people, you can get really, really good books. And that's a huge nugget, to read books in different industries, because your business is going to mold into different things that you read. I mean, the books that you read and the people that you meet will change your life immensely. And I've noticed that, because I've read a lot of books in the last 5 years. I never read books in school. I was a C student on a good day. But in the last 4 or 5 years, I've read so many books, and I can quote so many books, and it's changed everything. It's changed the people that I meet. It's changed the conversations that I'm having. It changes everything that I've been doing. So yeah, definitely read books in different industries. So Kassandra, I want to thank you for coming on. I hope that you guys got your pens and papers out. This episode will be posted and it'll stay on because it's fantastic. It may be broken into two, but we'll see. We may be able to stitch it all into one. But guys, remember, always listen to the end of the outro. I'll be giving away a free book and all you have to do is pay shipping. So make sure you listen to the outro and take notes. Like and subscribe to the podcast, and also like and subscribe to Kassandra's podcast. Like I said, we're going to post in the notes, and I see you guys again on the next interview from Burnt Phone Marketing. Thank you, Kassandra.
Have a good
Hey, thanks for listening. Please remember to rate and subscribe. I know it's hard to find people to pitch or talk to when your warm market dries up. So what do? When I first got started, I took off like most of you did. Then you started to get that feeling of being that guy. Me too. So to help you from hitting that brick wall, I've created a summit with the top 10 network marketing professionals for you, 100% complimentary. Yes, it's free. I want to start off by building an amazing relationship with you. So no matter if you've been in the industry for years or you just got started, this summit is for you. So go to www.burntphonemarketing.com and get your complimentary network marketing summit. Again, that's BURNTPHONE marketing.com and get access to this phenomenal summit. There you are going to find 3 keys to building a solid network marketing business. Number 1, belief. Number 2, strategy. And number 3, action. So to get access, go to www.burntphonemarketing.com and get your complimentary network marketing summit. Again, that's burntphonemarketing.com.